tell you when to eat them, okay? It will be a part of the Karpas first portion of the Seder, okay? There is also grape juice and matzah boxes in the back here. Okay, so if you don't have some at your table, or you need more, you run out, you just love the taste of that dry matzah. there's more in the back there, okay? So please feel free to partake, okay? Let's see here. We'll have more instruction as we go along, but welcome. It's good to be here. Let's open with prayer. Father, we come before you now. We thank you so much. Thank you so much, Father, for all that you've given us. Thank you for giving us the time to come together and to meet with you and to spend time with you and to read your word and to learn about the things you have done, to learn about the impact of that, Father, to memorialize that, Father. You are great and wondrous and awesome, God. And we need you in our lives now. And we're looking to the past for what you have done to help us to be inspired now, Father. And help us to know that you are the God of this world, that you are in control of this world. You are a part of our lives now, Father. We want to talk about our relationship with you tonight. And we want to be inspired by that. We want to draw closer to you by that. By going through this time, learning more about you and your ways, learning where we need you in our lives. Just put this evening in your hands and ask you to bless it. We pray your will be done tonight. Not my will, not anybody's will. As a man here who's trying to direct, Father, but your will. Please just use us all as tools tonight. That we can all come together as a people to encourage one another, to commune with one another, to get to know one another, and to get to know you. So put this evening in your hands, and in Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. All right, so I am going to invite my wife to come forward and lead us with the lighting of the candle. Betsy there. And Jesse.
Welcome, everybody. Good to see all these faces. We've been excited and planning for you all week. Passover is here, and we love this season. I'm just going to light the candles. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the world, who has sanctified us by your word and given us Yeshua our Messiah, and commanded us to be a light to the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהקדשנו בדבריך, נתן לנו הישוע ושיחנו, וציוונו בתורה לעולם, ויהי אות אור לעולם. Amen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והחיינו בזמן הזה. Lord of the world, we pray that you illuminate our homes with your light and show us any darkness that needs to be dispelled. In the name of Yeshua, the light of the world, let our light shine so that you may always be glorified. Amen.
So at this time, first off, I didn't say it earlier, but there are Haggadahs on your table. Okay? We're expecting about 90 people. We have about 75 of these. Okay? So, but these are for you to take home. Okay? So I don't want to see any Haggadahs here when we clean up. Okay? Take them home, read them, use them next year, study them. The other thing is, tonight we don't have a lot of time for commentary. Okay? But I think a night like tonight spawns commentary. Okay, so I invite you all to join us tomorrow for our Sabbath service over in Spring Lake. We have a gathering at 2 o'clock. Okay, and we'll have a liturgy and we'll have praise music. But we're going to do a midrash, and the midrash topic will be Passover. Okay, bring your questions. Okay, Jeremiah Greenberg, which I will introduce in a few moments, will be there. My father, Dr. John Merritt, who I will introduce in a minute, will also be there. Okay, and the rest of us will be there. Please come tomorrow, be with us, and join us, and come with your questions. Okay, take these tonight and come ready to study them. Okay. All right. So at this time, there is, for those who've been through a Seder, there are cups throughout the Haggadah, the Seder, order of service. Okay? Is there 1 cup? Is there 5 cups? Is there 4 cups? At this time, I would invite my father, Dr. John Merritt, to come forward. He has studied this topic. Okay, so he's got to be ready for questions tomorrow. But he's going to present a quick history of the 4 cups. And then we'll take the
First Passover almost 3,500 years ago, and it was a lot different then than it is now. And so how did we get from there to here? Well, it's been a long, long journey and a fruitful journey. And we'll learn a little bit more about that if you make it tomorrow. We'll discuss the history of that. But I want to introduce you to the 4 cups. Actually, there's 5 cups, because that gives us a little bit of reference to see how we got from there to here. Because when you read the first Passover, back to Exodus, there's no wine at all. There is no cup. It's bitter herbs. It's unleavened bread. And, of course, lamb. And you're ready to step in to get out of town. No time for drinking wine. So where did the wine come from? It wasn't until they actually got into the land and they planted the vineyards and began to celebrate the vineyards. Most of the time, they didn't drink wine. Archaeologists now know they drunk mainly water and beer. Beer, a strong drinking level, beer. But wine was special occasions, so wasn't much wine, so wine was for special occasions. So pretty soon you would have wine before a special occasion, such as a wedding, or Sabbath, or the festival. So just as we do traditionally in our homes, today we have on a Friday evening, we will blow the shofar, light the candles, and we will have wine and bread. Just a long, long tradition of celebrating something very special. And so it was like that for another 1,500 years, and we come to the time of Yeshua, and Yeshua's gathering with his disciples for his last Passover, and there is indeed a glass of wine. And that first glass of wine, on your tables you'll have a little outline there. If you look towards the back, it'll show you these cups there. And the first cup there was called sanctification. You're drinking that, you're setting aside as something very special, a special day. And so they drank the wine there at the beginning of the meal. But you notice in the book of Luke, indeed, after the meal had been served, in the meal, then he offered a second cup. That cup is called the cup of the covenant. And so thus many Messianic believers today will only have 2 cups, reflecting what is clearly extant in the first century, the time of Yeshua. The cup of sanctification and the cup of covenant. And that's okay. However, what are all these other cups about? Well, it turns out that after Jerusalem was destroyed, 70 40 years after Yeshua, that the rabbis were given land in Yavne down near on the coast near Tel Aviv, where they established an academy. And one of my favorite rabbis, Yohanan ben Zakkai, began to look at what had happened and the problems that had gone and the problems. And so, as we're told in the first Exodus to tell the story, so they added another cup there that they call the cup of affliction. And so they would drink that during the telling of the story, or the Nagi. So now you have 3 cups. The second cup now becomes the third cup, and the new cup was now called the second cup, the cup of affliction. And that added that cup, and that has been the Hebrew and Jewish tradition down, actually only for 100 years, because soon after that there was World War, and there was the Bar Kippur rebellion and the war in 35 AD, and then the Jews were run out of the land completely, and the temple, all that was left of it was completely destroyed. The city was piled under, and a new city called Adia Capitolina was built over that, and thus the Romans began to suppress that. And they ran these guys out of Yavne, and they scattered them over to Yavne and other places. And as they waited to return to the land, they added another cup, and it's called the cup of return. And so they added this cup of return about after 150 AD, which is traditional in all of Jewish traditional Passovers now. And so they look at that, and we look at that as a return to the land, when indeed the Romans will be gone, and all the bad guys will be gone, and we'll be back in the land. But we as Messiah look at something more than that. We look at return of the Messiah. So we see that the cup of return, although a rabbinical tradition, really adds a great deal, and the early Messianics in the next few centuries used those cups too. So we have added those. We've kept those 4 cups. So that's where you get the first, second, third, and fourth cup in history. And of course, in the Middle Ages, people recognized that before the Messiah came was a guy named Elijah was going to be coming. So they added another cup and set it traditionally, a plate somewhere in there, and a cup there was for Elijah. And that's really part of the cup of return. So that's a brief history of the cups. As you go through that, you'll appreciate a little bit how we got from there to here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now I want to introduce a dear friend. He's our guest tonight, but he's part of our family. Those who have been a part of our Messianic community in the area, Tampa, Brooksville, Spring Lake, probably have run into him at some point, or at a Messianic conference. Jeremiah Greenberg. I've known Jeremiah for about 15 years now. I will let him tell about some of his history. But from me, Jeremiah is a part of our weekly gathering. And the reason I say that is I'm a little unique in that I've been keeping Passover my whole life. Okay? Although I've been only a Messianic for the last 15 years. Okay? We can talk more about that tomorrow. It's a little bit confusing for some of you. But when I started the Messianic walk, was very new to liturgy. Liturgy was one of those things where when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I think I've heard some teachings that say this is bad, so I'm just going to stick with that. And my wife will attest to that. For the first few years, I was very resistant. And wouldn't you know, Jeremiah Greenberg was the liturgical leader at that, or the cantor at that time. And of course, you know where this story is going. The father said, Brian, you're going to learn this because there's a blessing here. And this is my word that is being sung. And as I started to release the blinders, I realized we're singing God's word. Right? The Shema is God's word. The enemy had blinders over me. And fast forward 10 years later, I have been granted a place to serve and lead liturgy on a weekly basis. Okay? So that's the Father's sense of humor. He saw that 10 years before that. And that's my relationship with Jeremiah. He has guided me through that. We become till now. And I thank you for that, Jeremiah. He developed a Messianic Siddur that we use, that I encourage you to go onto his website and buy. That's the shameless plug, okay? But it's a great Siddur to learn from. And so that is my personal kind of story for my relationship with Jeremiah. It goes deeper than that. But from here, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremiah. We are not alone. I'm going to let you know Jeremiah is not alone. I'm here with you. But Jeremiah Greenberg.
Thank you very much. I have to say a couple of things first. John did such a wonderful job that he usually tells more. But I really like the way John explains that, like he said, to come to the return. Well, this has been a hope for the Jewish people. John will probably say more of those kinds of things tomorrow. You know, that there is a hope of going back to the land. And of course, we as Messianics know that too. And John made such good, distinct answers. He knows a lot more. There's a lot more that we can learn. And I have to say that Brian, I've had the pleasure, really, this past week of getting to know him in a new way, too. I was always, I'm sorry, did I say John? I meant to say Brian. Brian, I would have to say he learned my stuff pretty well. But now, as an adult, I'm a little older than he is, let me put it that way. And I've been really glad to see that we have really a more spiritual relationship. It's not just based on the things that we can learn and do together, but it's based on true brotherhood in the Messianic movement as brothers. Having said all that, I'd just like to say that I had it really easy because my father taught me everything I know. So I didn't really have to study a whole lot of things growing up because my father trained us and kids in the family to be able to be functionaries and services such as, well, this is considered a service in the traditional Jewish community. Which finally leads me up to what I really want to say to begin with. And that is that Passover is really multi-level. Now, by that I mean the aspect that you find in a traditional Jewish Haggadah. Haggadah means the telling of the story. This meal is called a Seder meal. Seder really means order because it